What if I told you that our lives are so interconnected, so intertwined, that if you gave me any 3 items, I could show you how they relate to each other? In a way, that's what journalism's all about, connecting the dots. Well, what if we put that theory to the test, that anything and everything is in some way connected to each other? My name is Angrum, and this is Connect the Dots, where we find out how 3 seemingly unrelated items are related to each other. That we put the names of a bunch of different items into these 3 different bowls. We've got issues, events, and objects. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab one piece of paper out of these 3 bowls to find out how each of the items are related. Okay, I'm so nervous that I'm going to pick things that are just not going to make sense. So, for the issue, gender equality. When I think of gender equality, I think of the pay gap. I think of everything. So now for events, I've got, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. Okay, obviously, I'm thinking of balloons, floats, we've got crowds, we've got, what else? Celebrities, performances. Now we've got objects. Skyscrapers is the object. Okay, so we've got gender equality as the issue, Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade as the event, and skyscrapers as the object. Oh, that's easy. Honestly, I already have a million things that come to mind. So now I guess I'll have to do some research, figure out how these 3 things are connected. Sure, the Macy's parade takes place downtown on a 6-mile route that's lined by buildings and skyscrapers. But what about gender equality? That's when I came across this article on the lack of girl balloons in the parade, something I never even considered, let alone noticed. Wanting to learn more, I reached out to Equal Visibility Everywhere. It's an organization started by Dr. Lynette Long, a native New Yorker who's made it her life's mission to increase female representation in everything, from statues to coins. Hi, Lynette. My name is... After getting in touch, I learned Lynette lives in Florida now, so just like that, my research took me from the island of Manhattan to the sands of Miami Beach.
I grew up in New York in the Bronx, but I never actually went to the parade in person. But while our parents cooked, my cousins and I would watch the parade. And I never thought about it as a child. I was just excited to see the parade and cheer as Mickey Mouse and Mighty Mouse, said, "I'm here to save the day," and Popeye. But when I started looking at everything that in our culture and noticed the predominance of men in statues, in street names, in stamps, in our currency, I said, wow, let me look at the parade.
Here are a few facts about the parade, courtesy of Dr. Long. Macy's and its partners have produced more than 152 balloons over the parade's 95-year history. And only 12 balloons in the history of the parade have represented female characters. We reached out to Macy's to confirm these numbers. Macy said those figures are inaccurate and that the first female balloon was introduced years earlier. We also asked for a list of all the balloons in the parade's history, but they didn't provide one. In an email statement, Macy's did say, in part, quote, "Given that these characters are not owned by Macy's, our team works with the entertainment companies, brands, and organizations that create and develop them to put in place licensing partnerships that allow us to transform them into balloons or floats each year. Without these partnerships in place, we are not at liberty to introduce established entertainment characters simply based on our expressed interests or that of the public," end quote. They also said they've been at the forefront of representation when it comes to gender equity in production. For 35 of the last 45 years, a woman has been in charge of the parade's production team. Macy said female-centric storytelling within the floats, balloons, and performances will continue to play an important role in the parade. As for the balloons, the only comprehensive list of all the balloons in the parade's history I could find was on this user-generatedfandom.com page that keeps track of the balloons. By their count, 161 balloons have been male, 92 have been genderless, and 26 have been female.
Oh my goodness, my whole childhood, and I feel really sad, I never once saw a female character go by. And although obviously I didn't notice at the time, It's a subtle and insidious form of sexism that just seeps into children without them ever noticing.
For Dr. Long, the balloons aren't just a parade issue, it's personal.
Right now I'm a grandmother, so things have changed, and I have a granddaughter, and I'm gonna cry, her favorite is Frozen, is the top 10 grossing movie of all times. In 2017, they decided to do a balloon for the movie Frozen. And Princess Anna and Queen Elsa are the leads of the movie, two strong female characters.
She was elated until she saw what the balloon was.
I'm in tears thinking about it. They did Olaf, a secondary snowman character. And it is so sad to me that here was an opportunity to display female strength, and they pick a male snowman.
Deciding to take matters into her own hands, Dr. Long raised funds to create this Amelia Earhart balloon.
I want girls also, besides characters, to be able to look up at a real person and said, wow, she did this. She was incredibly brave, and there was a lot of excitement. This is one of my favorites, this painting here, because when you look at it, you might not get it right away, but it says, you can't be what you can't see. And this speaks directly to Macy's parade. You know, Macy's parade is the biggest parade in the world. It has obviously 2-3 million people see it live, 25 million, some people estimate as many as 50 million people watch it on television. It's one of the biggest events of the year, of television events, and it's really sad that women are invisible in the parade.
But the face of the parade has changed some in recent years. In 2020, Macy's partnered with Olay to create a float honoring women in science, technology, engineering, and math. The point of the float was to inspire young girls to enter the male-dominated STEM fields. It's worth noting, NBC Universal, the parent company of NBCLX and NBC New York, is the official broadcasting partner of the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade. So we got a connection between parade and gender equality. But what about skyscrapers?
I think it's fair to suggest that we could see skyscrapers as monuments in the built environment to male power, corporate power, and perhaps ego as well.
That's Leslie Kern. She's the author of Feminist City, a book that looks at what it means to claim space in a man-made world.
You know, coming back to a gender perspective, we could think about like who skyscrapers are named after. I don't think we could find any really that are named after women, or perhaps even by corporations that are started and led by women. Skyscrapers tend to be, you know, they venerate a certain kind of work and power, right? Economic power, which tends to be more associated with men than with women and women's work.
And it's not just the names of these buildings that exposes a gender gap, it's their designers too.
Around the world, there's really relatively few of these buildings that have been designed by women architects, so they're also kind of excluded on the design end as well.
In fact, a 2017 survey from Design found that at the time, just 3 of the world's 100 biggest architecture firms were led by women. So I've been able to find the link between gender equality in the parade and gender equality in skyscrapers. Now that's all that's left is to find the link between the parade and skyscrapers. From my research, I learned that strong winds almost grounded the floats in 2019 due to safety concerns. Well, it turns out skyscrapers can make those winds even more dangerous because of what's known as the downdraft effect, or the wind tunnel effect. But I'm not even gonna try to explain what that is. Let's have NBC New York meteorologist Dave Price break it down.
Let's talk about a water gun, a plastic water gun. You stick it in the tub or in the sink and gurgle, gurgle, gurgle. All the water goes into the water gun and you plug it up, right? And then when you take all that water and put it through a narrow spigot and launch it, it's much more intense.
During the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, the skyscrapers are that plastic water gun.
And so that's what buildings do. That's why those winds can be so fierce, much more so than, it may read in Central Park. Air has to go through. Air has to go over. Air goes around corners. Where do the balloons have to turn? How tight is that maneuver? These are the things which keep parade planners up at night and forecasters busy right up until Santa Claus comes and kicks off the holiday season.
To recap, the connections I found are that the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade has a gender equality issue when it comes to how many female balloons decorate the parade route every year. And that skyscrapers also have a gender equality issue, from who gets to construct them to who they're named after. And the parade also has a wind issue, kind of. The balloons can't go up if the wind is too strong, and skyscrapers can make those winds significantly stronger. Those are the links I found. What can you find?